welcome back to our Friday food demos from the Farmers Market. So I'm Elizabeth from the Cochise County Cooperative Extension in AZ Health Zone. And on Fridays, we like to make food demos from what we found at the Farmers Market. One of the things that we find a lot at the market is Bok Choy. And so that's what we're going to base our meal on today. So this is a beautiful head of Bok Choy. And there's several vendors that sell this. So one important thing when you're cleaning Bok Choy is to make sure that you get down into here, because that's where it sits on the ground when it grows. And so dirt gets in there. So you really want to make sure that you get in there and clean that. I've rinsed this one pretty well. So we're going to use this bok choy for our stir fry. I'm going to turn my pan down. I can feel the heat on it. So first thing you want to do with the bok choy is just take this root end off. So give it a good little chop. And then it kind of comes right apart. And then you get to find out how well you cleaned it. So we'll take a handful of leaves, because of course I've already cut some up. And the rest we're just going to put to the side. So there we go. So bok choy. Down at this thicker end, I'm going to cut it a little bit smaller, and then as we get up to the greens, I'm going to cut it a little bit smaller, or a little bit larger. One of the important thing about stir fries is to try to cut everything in a size that will cook about the same time. So obviously the tops of the greens will cook up faster, so you can cut those a little bit bigger. That might be a bit big, but I think you get the idea. So we'll start small. And get bigger as we move up. And I just kind of bunch everything up together. Makes it easy. And just toss that right into our bowl. So we have lots of bok choy. And the next thing that you can find a lot of at the market right now are mushrooms. So we used some really pretty pink mushrooms on our last food demo. These are more of a traditional kind of a brown mushroom. And so what we're going to do with these, I already have some chopped up here as well. But what we're going to do to clean a mushroom, the best way to do it is take a damp cloth or a damp paper towel and just kind of go around and knock off any loose dirt. Kind of the same around here. These are pretty darn clean. So you can eat the stems on these. You can remove them if you want, but I'm going to leave it. And then I just give these a slice. And I'll add that to our mushroom pile. So the next thing that I got at the market was lemon balm. And this is lemon balm. It is an herb. It has kind of a minty smell a little. It has a really refreshing taste. So we're going to add that to our stir fry. And then the next thing I got was some mung bean sprouts. Those are super fun. So we'll add that as well. And then last, I bought some pickled spicy garlic. One of the things I have trouble keeping in my house is garlic. I either use it all up or it sits and gets kind of icky. So I thought this might be an interesting, fun way to keep garlic on hand. So it smells fantastic. There are some really hot peppers in here. There's also some non-spicy pickled garlics, if that is more your speed. So I'm just going to take one food because I already have some chopped up, and I'm going to give it a pretty rough chop. I don't want it too small. You could actually make this smaller if you wanted to, but there we go. So now we're ready to get our pan going. So one thing I do want to add, I did add some vegetables from my pantry. I have some bell peppers and I have some cauliflower that I actually grew. So I'm going to use this. I did steam the cauliflower a little bit before we got started so that it wouldn't take as long to cook. So with that, we will get started. I'm going to do my infamous smoking pan. Now you could use a sesame oil or a vegetable oil if you wanted to. If you have a wok at home, which, let's see if I can pull, which looks something like this, that's great. If not, don't worry about it. You can use any kind of spray pan, or in this case, our skillet. So I'm just gonna add everything. So the peppers, the mushrooms, and the cauliflower. All right, let me move this out of the way. We have a very loud big dinner today. So I'm going to save the lemon balm and the bean sprouts until we're a little bit further in. So we just want this to get good and hot. So stir fries, you want things to be cut into sizes that will cook uniformly, so kind of at the same time. And you also want a really kind of hot pan because the idea is to cook things fast. So, got one little mushroom here that needs a little bit more chopping. There we go. So we'll let that cook. While that's cooking, I'm going to scooch it off to the side a little bit. Our greens are already starting to wilt. We're going to make our sauce. So you can have a store-bought sauce if you like. You can also just make a really quick sauce at home. So I have soy sauce. You want like, for this amount, you don't want too much, maybe a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons. There's a lot of recipes, and I'll put a couple in our comment box that have different sauces. Some people put cornstarch in them to thicken them up. I'm not a big fan of that, but you do what you like. Some people like a thicker sauce. It reminds them more of what they might get out. So a couple dashes of sesame oil. I do that more for flavor. I like to put rice vinegar in my sauce. It gives it a little tang and a little bit of that acid. So some things you could add if you wanted to. If you wanted it a little bit sweeter, you could add a little bit of honey. If you like it spicy, you can add like a chili paste. And if you like it kind of a little bit thicker or maybe a little bit sweeter, like a hoisin sauce. So those are all choices you can do. Keep this going. I'm going to give it a little more heat. It's kind of interesting cooking this in the skillet, but it's working great. If you were, let's say, maybe going away to school or you have limited kitchen space, I think one of these would be kind of cool to have. You can do pretty much anything on this. This would be a versatile tool. Alright, so I'm really looking for those mushrooms to get done and for the bok choy to cook through. Our greens are pretty wilted, so really that's all we're waiting for now is the mushrooms to get cooked up. together a little bit. You use a fork if that's what you have. One of the cool thing about stir fries is you don't need a lot of fancy tools. And I'm actually going to add our garlic to my sauce. And then, looks like we're getting pretty good here. You can see that on camera, I hope. That smells so good. As soon as I opened these mushrooms, I knew I had to make stir fry. It just had that smell. It just made me want a stir fry, made me crave it. All right, so this is looking really good. We're starting to get a little bit of brown on our cauliflower. So I'm going to add the lemon balm. And I'm going to add the mung beans. Just give it a quick toss. And now our sauce. And pretty much you want to cook this through. If you had added cornstarch, you'd want to wait for it to thicken up. And there we go. So one of the fun things that you could do with this if you wanted, I have cooked a little rice I'm going to put on the side. You could eat it just like this, and you could put a fried egg on top if you wanted to get a little crazy. It's a great way to add protein. If you had some leftover chicken or some other protein from dinner last night, you could add it. Or some tofu. If you were making this for children, adding a little bit of mandarin oranges or a little bit of pineapple, a little burst of sweet would be a really good idea. All right, so we look like we're all cooked through. We're nice and steamy. And turn that off. Move that out of the way. First, I'm going to put a little bit of our rice. I used these microwavable cups. They're super convenient for lunch. So I'm just going to get a little bit of rice there. And we'll do a little bit of our stir fry. This smells really good. And there we are. We have Farmers Market stir fry. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you make something fun and interesting with your Farmers Market produce. And hope to see you there next Thursday. Have a great day. Bye.